Well, okay, so I'm going to talk to you about stem cell therapies. This is the BSGTESGCT, British Society of Gene Therapy, but I'm going to take a sideways step to introduce you to stem cell therapies. I think these two things are things that are going to converge, they're already converging. Adrian's already spoken to you about the Bubble Boy trial. I'm going to persuade you that equally was a stem cell trial as much as it was a gene therapy trial. So I'm also going to do a little bit of an admin. I think I'm going to walk away from this just for a minute or two. Can I ask the audience, who's heard of stem cells? Put your hands up if you heard of stem cells. Can I choose somebody to put their hand up and tell me what a stem cell is? Anybody brave enough to do that? I'm going to tell you anyway. Can anybody give me an example of a stem cell? What do people think of when they think of stem cells? Well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So that's half of my talk. Give me an example of a stem cell. What do people think of when they think of stem cells? Sorry? Thank you. Yeah. So there are many different kinds of stem cells. One that is a focus at the moment are embryonic stem cells. Usually when I tell people I work with stem cells, they say, oh, embryonic stem cells. And yes, part of my work is with embryonic stem cells. But part of it isn't as well. Part of it is with some of the other kinds of stem cells that there are. So, as well as telling you what is stem cell therapy, hopefully I'm going to describe to you what the vast array of stem cells are that we deal with. So, first and foremost, stem cell therapy, is it fantasy or reality? This is, again, we've been talking about, is this the future or is it the here and now? So I'm going to show you a selection of red top titles here, and this actually from Adam's talk. Adam, you inadvertently gave me a wish list here, and I'm going to answer these wish lists in red top form. So, testicle stem cells curing Alzheimer's disease, according to the Sun. Larger breasts, according to the Daily Express. So these are actually breast augmentation. What else do we have? We've got facelifts, so stem cells for facelifts in people. I've included one from every red top, and I've included David from the Daily Express. I'm afraid. New joints, so we're going to grow new joints, new legs, new eyeballs, okay, with eyes, whole eyeballs, I'm not so sure. And the latest one, of course, is we're going to grow new hair. So Wayne Rooney should have gone stem cell. Okay, so this is the fantasy. Let's reconnect with the reality, and hopefully the BBC is going to help us there. So we've already heard about these settings. I would like to see this, and I'm sure Adrian would agree with me, that this is based around gene correction in a stem cell component from the bone marrow. So this was a long time ago. We spoke to Adrian. We've heard all about that. So this is the start of stem cell therapy. So what was really exciting for stem cell biologists is last year an American company, Geron, embarked on the first ever embryonic stem cell clinical trial. So this is a landmark, okay? But let's go back to this country. Again, in this country we have stem cell trials earmarked for MS. We already have proof of stem cell therapy in growing stem cells on an artificial windpipe. So this is including components of tissue engineering along with stem cells. This is globally referred to as regenerative medicine. Also, the UK stem cell trial earmarked for stroke. This is in Glasgow. Again, Professor Keith Newark. So these are all UK-based processes. And again, you're going to be hearing from Robin Alley later on. And here we have the first UK European embryonic stem cell trial for an eye disease, Stargardt's macular dystrophy. So this is reality. This is here and now. So I'd like you to see that we are here. So is this all here and now? Has this been going on for some time? And stem cell therapy has been around for a long time. Well, actually, Yes, they have. And we've all heard of bone marrow transplantations. It's been pointed out. So the first ever bone marrow transplantation, 1956. This guy, E. Donald Thomas, was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1990. So we're talking many, many decades in stem cell therapies. We just didn't really call them that. Again, cord blood transplantation. So this is the umbilical cord. I'm sure you're all aware of companies that, well, you're a bit young at the moment, but when you start to think about having children, you may be asked, do you want to store your cord blood? And the reason for this is because there is a history already of cord blood transplantations being successful. In 1988, Fanconi anemia was successfully treated with a cord blood transplantation, and this child is doing very well to this day. So it's already there, it's already around. Basically our understanding of stem cells has changed, and our ability to use them is advancing. So what is a stem cell? Again, a very intelligent person in the audience has already told you one of these two things. The key things that define a stem cell are self-renewal, and what self-renewal essentially means is that this cell can divide and divide and divide, hopefully. And basically it stays the same, it keeps its key attribute. And the key attribute that we're interested in is potency. So essentially, this stem cell is able to turn into 2 or more kinds of other cell. Alright, so it's a progenitor for other cells. It's there essentially to repopulate cells. So here you can see that this cell can then turn into 2 different cells. Okay? So where do we find these cells? What kind of stem cells are there? Now, as I say, the vast majority of media is obsessed with embryonic stem cells at the moment. We'll go into these things as I go along. Embryonic stem cells, we all know about those. Fetal stem cells. So this would include cord blood stem cells. So these are fetally derived stem cells. It also includes cells taken from the amniotic fluid. Adult stem cells. This is less talked about, and the interesting thing is that these are what we're populated in our bodies, and these are what regenerate our tissues. That's what regenerates us at the moment, and as we grow. Now the thing is that these are less appropriate for therapy at the moment, apart from the bone marrow stem cells that we talked about. But there is a lot of research in this area. And then the new guys on the block, induced pluripotent stem cells. We'll go into that a little later. These are essentially an alternative to embryonic stem cells. So, the embryonic stem cells, as I said, we have this idea, this ability to self-renew. And so I've got a video here. Can we try playing this? So this is actually some stem cells growing in the lab. And you can see these colonies here of stem cells, and you can see this is over about 48 hours. You can see these cells have a massive capacity to grow and divide. And what that means is that you can take cells, a small amount of cells, so from a disrupted embryo, so of course this is all under informed consent for unwanted embryos. These will be taken, we're able to do this in the UK at the moment. You can then culture these cells, and so you have billions and billions and billions of these. You activate the potency component, and you're able to differentiate these into virtually any cell type in the whole human body. So the concept here is, for example, for the liver. If you have a liver disease, your liver is failing, that you can take embryonic stem cells, you can amplify these up to huge quantities, then change them into liver cells, and then with those liver cells, you can potentially transplant those into a patient to provide them with a healthy liver again. So this is the concept. Obviously, this is in process, as I've referred to at the moment. There are a number of embryonic stem cell trials, mainly in spinal cord injury and the macular dystrophy trial on the eyes. So, fetal stem cells. This is another area of great interest. As I said before, there are stem cells that circulate in the amniotic fluid that surround the fetus. And then also at birth, the umbilical cord is known to contain stem cells that are able to differentiate into blood cells. And so these can potentially be used to treat leukemias or blood diseases in the future for that child. And so that's the concept of the storage of cord blood. So then the other source of stem cells is in the adult human body. And so every major lung has its own set of stem cells. Here in the lungs, I'm clicking away. There, a little flash. In the heart, all of these major organs, the liver, they all contain what we call stem cell niches. And so if we have the capacity to direct therapies at these niches, then potentially, for example, gene therapy, and this is where these two worlds collide again. If you were able to apply gene therapy to these stem cells, then what you know is you're going to hit the cells, you're going to repair the cells that are then going to reconstitute that tissue, renew it as we go along, as we wear out, it gets renewed, and we renew it with cells that actually work and don't have disease. So again, this is where these two worlds can combine. So the here and now is that bone marrow transplantation, as I said, is essentially stem cell therapy. There is the boy in the bubble approach, which Adrian's lab and others have taken, where you can take bone marrow out, you can then treat it with a gene therapy, make the cells better, and then put them back in again. You can do what the French do and eat it. I think it's probably better than we actually use it and take it out and work on it. So then finally, we have induced pluripotent stem cells. So as I referred to with embryonic stem cells, there is a moral, ethical issue here. Some people are for, some people are against, and that's a wider issue. So this was initiated in the States during the Bush administration. These guys went out and looked for another way to make pluripotent stem cells that can turn into any cell type in the whole body. So actually they were beaten to it by the Japanese. So this very clever guy here, Shinya Yamanaka, he works out that if you put just these 4 genes, OCT4, SOX2, KLF4, c-Myc, if you put those 4 genes into a skin cell, it reprograms itself and it turns into a pluripotent stem cell, which essentially has all the characteristics of an embryonic stem cell. So this is a major event. This is kind of a paradigm shift in regenerative medicine. So now we have the potential to make pluripotent cells that can turn into any kind of cell type, that can self-renew forever, indefinitely. We can make them from a patient's skin cell. So there are certain safety issues that have to be addressed with iPS cell technology at the moment, but there is huge potential in this, and so hopefully this will be something that is driven towards clinical trials in the future. So finally, I'm going to just talk about something that's been in the news over the last week or so regarding embryonic stem cell work, and does have an effect on trials in this country. So, as I say, we're one of the world leaders in this area of embryonic stem cell therapy. There are things going into the clinic, first in Europe, with the eye disease. Inevitably, these trials have to be backrolled by large pharmaceutical companies. GE Healthcare, GE is one of the biggest companies in the world, Pfizer is one of the major pharmaceutical companies. Both of these companies are involved in embryonic stem cell trials and the production and manufacture of embryonic stem cell lines for therapy. Now last week there was a ruling in the European Court of Justice that was raised by Greenpeace that the use of embryonic stem cells for commercial gain should not happen. Now actually, part of that I agree with, and I think it's a complex moral and ethical argument. So commercial gain using embryonic stem cells cannot happen in this country. So what's going to happen is that these companies, ironically, are now going to go to the US. Because Obama has changed rulings in the US regarding embryonic stem cells, and we're going to potentially lose some of these critical clinical trials in this country. So, this ruling, it has kind of ethical correctness about it, but there are consequences for human health. So, in summary, hematopoietic stem cell therapies are already used to treat disease. Embryonic stem cell therapies are about to become a reality. They are becoming a reality. Cord blood stem cells have a future potential. Yeah? So when you do come to have your children, and somebody comes and asks you, do you want your cord blood saved? It's a very serious question these days. And in my mind, iPS cells hold huge potential for therapy in the future. So I hope I persuaded you that there's a big future for stem cells, and that gene therapy and stem cell therapies will be combining as part of this. Okay, thank you very much.